and we'll go over the 5 affected towns again. But the idea being that we need conservation of water. We need to change habits in the short term here so that our existing water supply lasts longer. And you'll hear from Jeff Brown specifically shortly related to different operational maneuvers that Aqua is working to try to help remedy the situation. You'll hear directly from Jeff related to what is happening with the capital project and how complex of a capital project this is. This isn't just your traditional infrastructure break that sometimes we see in downtown Syracuse, where you see a pipe that breaks, you dig it up, you fix it, you move on. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about wholesale water infrastructure that services the entire community. So very, very complex. In addition to that, Onondaga County will handle all emergency preparation for the situation. Aqua is obviously going to fix the infrastructure. That's going to take a period of time. In county government, we are already planning and preparing for the event that if there was going to be a situation where there was not water in the part of the community, that we'll plan and prepare for that. And we can talk more about that as we get into that. Right now, the reality is we have a situation where there's so much water capacity today. If you were to look at what our community's habits are for using that water, it's essentially 5 to 6 days worth of water for this section of the community. And then we have a construction project that is going to take longer than 5 or 6 days to manage. So what we can do as a community is we can change the way we use water. Jeff can talk about some of the conservation ways that have been recommended. That gets us more time. We're looking at other engineering solutions that can help get us more time. But certainly we are going to be prepared for the event if we need to have an emergency response. And again, we could talk about that later. Later on this evening, members of the community, and it won't just be the affected communities of DeWitt, Manlius, and Pompey, you may receive and will receive likely a reverse 911 call asking you, it's actually called a reverse notification, the technical terminology, asking you to conserve water and change habits. And certainly right now the areas impacted are DeWitt, Manlius, and Pompey in Onondaga County, and then some other communities in Madison County. I do want to thank our partners in the city of Syracuse and the city of Oneida who have worked with Aqua to help push water into different areas of the grid, which has helped certainly get us to the point where we are, where we have more time today than what we probably had days ago. Saying that, to go over where we stand with the capital project and some of the operational things that Aqua has done to make maneuvers that are really helping preserve more water for us is Jeff Brown. Jeff, come on.
Thank you, County Executive. We experienced a major transmission main leak on Saturday. This is on our Eastern Branch transmission main that is serving the eastern parts of our system. This is the first significant break on the Eastern Branch transmission main since it was built in the 1960s. So this is a robust system, and this is a first of its kind. It did temporarily stop flow to the eastern storage facilities in our system called the Eastern Reservoir. But we took steps to address that issue, including we began pumping water from Atisco Lake. All of the water that was coming initially before the break was from Lake Ontario. We now have set up temporary pumps to move water from Atisco Lake into the Eastern Reservoir. We have also engaged, as the county executive mentioned, with communities, including the city of Syracuse, who is now essentially serving the entire town of DeWitt. The city of Oneida is helping us by serving the village of Canastota. And we are pumping water also from the northern parts of our system down into Chittenango, as well as other parts of Madison and Onondaga County. So As the county executive said, at this point, water conservation is key. We have made many, many steps to maximize the efficiency of our system, and we will continue to do that. But what is going to get us over the hurdle now is is water conservation. You can see on the poster over here the various things that our customers can do, both on a personal level with their appliances, and also small businesses. We are asking commercial entities to take steps when they can to keep their water use to essential purposes only. What can customers expect to see, right, in the affected areas? What can they expect to see? They might see some lower pressure than they normally have. Our goal is to keep everybody in water, but the pressure might be reduced. They also might see some discolored water. Finally, we do not anticipate at this point any boil water notices, but that could come, but at this point we do not anticipate that. Turning now finally to the repair. What does this repair look like? As the county executive said, it is a very complex repair. What makes it complex is it is in extremely shifting soils. The soils are made of basically sand at this point. So what we need to do, there's a 4-step process to this, and we actually have to replace about 120 feet of pipe, which is larger than the area where the break is, but the consensus is that we need to get out to the parts of the piping that are strong and we believe will hold, and build all of that infrastructure in between those two pipes. So about 120 feet. The first thing we need to do is put steel sheeting in. This will not hold if we do not drive piles and put steel sheeting in. It will not protect the crews when they are out there working on the break. Secondly, we need to dewater the entire site, and that is, as you can imagine, in a very wet area, a very large project. We have actually brought in a contractor from out of state who is an expert in dealing with these types of things to get that done. Then we need to bed the area where we are putting the new pipe to make sure it is stable and can be there for the long term. We are doing this as a long-term fix. And finally, make the repair. Believe it or not, the repair itself is relatively straightforward compared to the other things that we have to do to get the site ready for that long-term repair. So at this point, that's all I have.
So, thanks, Jeff. We'll plan and prepare the community for an event if it gets to that, where if there is not water in a part of the community. What I would say to residents right now, we've already procured enough water for you to have drinking water. So the idea that you won't have drinking water, that's not something anyone in the community should worry about. Certainly at the right and appropriate time, we would talk about what our plan would be for mass distribution of water. Then we would unveil plans related to distribution of water to be used for sanitary purposes, and then certainly water to be used for bathing purposes at different times, right? These are different things that we look at for different scenarios. So we are planning and preparing for worst case scenarios. I think for all of us to be able to avoid those scenarios, the best thing we can do right now is continue to give Aqua time, change our habits. Again, the data shows that our community uses a certain amount of water. If our community and all of us in each household conserve what we do and change our behavior, what we do, that gives the community more water, which gives us more time to look at engineering solutions and to get the construction project completed. Saying that, happy to take questions.
So my first question is, the pipe is old, 1960s, a bit older, but when was the last time an inspection was performed on that main?
You typically don't inspect pipes, right? We have a very robust system called our SCADA system that monitors electronically our entire system. So we can tell with pressure fluctuations whether there's an issue in a particular section of our system.
Was there any indication that there was an issue before this happened?
We did see some bubbling of water. We actually fixed one blow off. It's called a blow off, where water, if there's air in the system, it will blow off. We fixed a leak in that general area, and when we were there, we actually observed some bubbling of water. It was of such a nature that we didn't necessarily catch it, because the blow off we thought was being captured in our SCADA system, our electronic system. Once we fixed that, we also saw there was another leak there as well.
Does that have anything to do with why this happened?
We don't believe that the blow-off had anything to do. It really is the shifting soils, and being there for 60 years, until we got in there and got a sense of the magnitude and the complexity of it, we really, this system has been rock solid for 60 years. We had no reason to believe that there was an issue there.
When do you think this is going to be solved?
We are currently hoping that the leak will be fixed in roughly 2 weeks. Early January is when we're looking at that.
I mean, this is kind of the worst timing for this to happen, as holidays, college kids are coming home, families are coming into town. What do you guys have to say about that?
We certainly are sympathetic to that. We understand that, and go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever a good time for this to happen, right? So I think overall, the reality is you have a very reliable system, one of the best water systems, quite frankly, in North America. Pipes are going to break. It happened. Now, we got to fix it. Part of the challenge is, to Jeff's point, of the moving soils. You had a situation where you had snow melt, you had rain. That makes it more challenging. It's a scenario today, without doing certain things in advance, you cannot even put people down there to fix it. So you have to build up infrastructure, literally steel infrastructure, so that it's safe for people to go and actually get to the infrastructure. So it's going to take a little bit longer than what we like. Certainly the goal here is to have little to no impact to the public. We need the public's help for that to happen. And so that's why we're talking about this, and we'll continue to talk about this over the next every day until the situation is resolved.
Exactly how many customers are being impacted? I know I've read thousands, tens of thousands. Do you have an exact amount?
Within the area that you see here to the left, with the 5 communities, it's roughly 27,000 customer accounts.
All right. And which communities are receiving the biggest impact? I know we said DeWitt, Pompey. I just want to make sure I got that right.
That's correct. The five towns that are shown here, which is the towns of DeWitt, Manlius, Pompey, Sullivan, and Lennox.
And when, Ryan, you said day to day, so I saw that the website was down a little bit earlier. I'm sure we're getting a flood of folks coming in. Nope. So when people are getting that day-to-day information, where can they turn to?
Yeah, tomorrow we'll do another briefing at 3 o'clock to update everybody through you. Certainly all the information that was on the Aqua website, we're going to post on the county website as well. But I think overall, literally, you're going to have the Aqua teams working to get their project going, right? There's probably not great, it's probably gonna take 2 weeks. Like, if it takes 2 weeks, that we're lucky, right? And then they'll continue to work on is engineering solutions and creativity to try to pick up time. So the only thing we can do is, if we use less water, that water that we have essentially sitting in a reservoir will go longer. And so by doing that, you'll have the most minimal impact on customers and businesses, because certainly in emergency response, we'll be able to make sure that every person has water, right? We'll be able to make sure that happens, and we'll make sure that our vulnerable are safe, and that will all be part of an emergency response plan that we'll talk about at the appropriate time. But certainly from businesses' standpoint, it's a little different, right? If you run out of water for a day or two, there's nothing to do for that business, right? So I think overall, it's in everybody's interest to help us give the professionals at Aqua time. So change your habits, don't do as much laundry, look at some of the other recommendations here. When you're brushing your teeth, turn off the water. These small little things that don't seem like a lot, but if you think about all the people, you referenced all the households, right? All the customers. Think about how many people are in each house, and how a little bit of change to behavior could go a long way in a situation like this.
Is
Is it typical for a water pipe to take this long to be fixed? Are there any staffing issues that are contributing to this?
No staffing issues. Again, just it's a super complex repair and a very, very challenging part of our system. And I just would add, one of the other recommendations is, remember, the bulk of our system is still in good shape, right? If you have relatives, if you have friends who live in the western part of Onondaga County, the northern part of Onondaga County, that system remains strong. Go over. My mother lives in Camillus. I'll be going over there to do my laundry. Take advantage of that.
And, sorry, excuse me, apologies. So, what is your message? I know that we say it's frustrating, it can happen, you know, anytime. People are calling in saying, is the water safe to drink? You guys just said, you know, that boiling advisory, we're not there yet, and we don't know if we're gonna be there, but, you know, just a straightforward answer to folks about the safety of the water right now.
Yeah, the safety of the water, it's safe. It's the same water you were drinking the day before, right, from the same sources with the same treatment. Essentially what we're talking about is a capacity issue, right, not a quality issue. And in the event it becomes a quality issue, Dr. Anderson and her team will be communicating, you know, as a regulator of Aqua and of all other water bearing agencies, and we'll let the public know, right? So there's no boil water advisory at this time. The water's safe. This is a capacity issue. We need to make our capacity last longer so that we have minimal disruptions. But in the event there is a disruption, we'll talk about it. We've already planned for it. We have plans, and now we'll make sure that everybody has water.
We've received an email about a business not being able to flush their toilet. How is the health department stepping in? It sounds like a health risk if people can't be flushing your toilets for up to 2 weeks, if that's how long it takes.
There hasn't been impacts right now related to water pressure, but there's not been water outage impacts yet. So I don't know what's going on with the businesses' sanitary issues. But again, we do acknowledge that part of a response plan needs to have a sanitary water solution as part of that, and certainly we would talk about that.
And we are putting our customer service representatives on longer time. They are there actually tonight till 8 o'clock. So as people have issues such as that, they're more than happy to call us. We can look at it, see if we can't do something about it. Absolutely.
This is my last question, I promise, but I'm thinking about Micron right now. We're thinking ahead, everything that's going to happen in terms of water, how much water we're going to need. Are you guys, you know, taking note of this approach, this action that you're doing right now? What if that happens, you know, a year from now, 2 years from now, when this project is really underway? Are you guys taking that into consideration? I know that you said these pipes are old, but you're putting in so much time so that they last long. So when things like this happen, we have, you know, a big company coming here to invest a lot. So what are your thoughts going into that as well?
Yeah, I know a little bit about that company. That's one of the nice things about the project and what the project drives, right? The project is driving all sorts of investment that is actually improving the quality of life for Onondaga County and Central New York residents. On the wastewater side, right, Oak Orchard expansion right now that's going through, that's going to improve the lives of people who live in Clay. That's going to mean we can build more homes in Clay and be able to have businesses in Clay be able to expand because there's more capacity. The same goes for water. Part of this project is Aqua is undergoing a 10-year capital plan where they're going to be reinvesting essentially close to $1 billion in all this infrastructure. And part of that investment is not just going to benefit Micron, it's going to benefit the rest of this community. There's literally going to be a second pipe that comes from Lake Ontario into Onondaga County. And today, we have a situation where the city of Syracuse is really stepping up and helping Aqua in the town of DeWitt. What this pipe will allow is in the event that the city of Syracuse needs help, we have a better chance to help the city of Syracuse, whereas today's infrastructure would be more challenging. So there will be 2 pipes coming from Lake Ontario, not 1. If 1 failed, then you use the second one, right? So I think overall, that second pipe is an insurance policy for the entire community, and that's because of Micron, right? And the state of New York is co-investing with Aqua over $100 million in that.
Perfect, thank you.
Real quick, the way you have things set up now where there's more water being flowed in from more places, do you think that'll last for the whole 2-week period while the repairs are being made?
We are optimistic that we can keep everybody in water, but as the county executive said, we're also preparing if we cannot. The next several days will be very, very telling. Are we getting the level of water conservation that we need to keep everybody in water, or are people continuing to operate as normal? That will be really the tipping point of whether people are going to be in or out of water in the 5 or 6 days out.
And just to add on, do you think there are certain areas that might have problems first as far as water potentially running out?
We're looking through that right now and preparing for that. Certainly, there's going to be a point of, it starts somewhere, right? So in the event, there's going to be a community where it hits first. We'll know more about that tomorrow, and we'll be more, based off of tomorrow's data. Again, we're going to give ourselves the morning, the afternoon, to be able to capture data, be able to answer questions better at 3 o'clock. But certainly, it starts somewhere in the event it happens.
And then just one more thing, for your top users, your top 5 or 10 users, are you able to actually tell them, just like stop pulling water out based on the amount of volume they're pulling out? Are you able to tell them just to stop pulling water out of the system?
I'll answer a little bit, and if Jeff wants to add on, because these are his customers overall. Certainly, we'll look at everything, and we'll look at what kind of executive powers we have in the event we think this is going to go into an emergency. Certainly, our executive authority in emergency gives us the ability to do what you're suggesting. Hopefully, we don't need to get to that point.
I would just add, we have been talking to our largest customers in this particular area, and they've been very willing to work with us on limiting their water use. Whether it's going to other facilities outside of the impacted area, whether it's getting water from the city of Syracuse, other options, changing their operations. So we are cautiously optimistic that those are going to allow us to continue on the path to keeping everybody in water.
Do we have a specific street location where this main break was? We keep saying the general area. Is there a specific spot that it happened?
Yes, it's on a small side street of Taft Road called Weaverly Avenue.
Okay, where on Weaverly Avenue?
Right at the very end of it.
At the very end?
They come together,
Taft Road.
yes.
I suggest you don't go near the hole.
Totally
okay.
agree with you on that. It is an unstable area, but yeah, that's where it's
Right
located.
on line.
I understand that it's 120 feet of the pipe that needs to be repaired. But how does 120 feet affect 27,000 people? And that's a huge area of people that are being affected. How does that kind of work?
This is a significant transmission main in our system, right? The eastern part of our system is a very robust area. A lot of residences, a lot of businesses in that area. And it leads to our 50 million gallon storage facility. So unfortunately, it is a very critical part of our system that was impacted by this particular break. But again, we're taking all the steps we can possibly take to mitigate the impacts. But yeah.
Will you guys be checking other pipes in the areas to kind of jump ahead on if this will happen again to other pipes?
We definitely, once we get our hands around this particular break, yes, we will be checking the system for sure in that area.
And then just real quick for your tanks, I know they're at full capacity. Normally, do you know how full they are right now?
You know, roughly they're about 20% filled, right? So that is a 50 million gallon tank, 2 tanks there. It's roughly down to 10 million gallons. I would say that we are filling it slowly. So we fill it, then we take some out. So with that bypass water from Atisco, we are slowly filling that tank back up. Then we have to obviously send it out into the system. So the goal is to send less of that out with these conservation measures so that filling process basically keeps us steady. We don't gain any, but we don't lose any during this period that we're fixing the break.
And just based on the past day or two where you've been telling people, please use less water, do you think you've seen some changes as far as the amount of water that's being drawn out of the system? Are people actually trying to use less?
We are seeing some reductions in demand. I wouldn't say it's overwhelming, but we are seeing some.
Yeah, we need to do better.
Yeah.
We don't be talking right now. We got a problem, so we need to do better. And so I think overall, it's probably a little too early to tell, to be honest with you. Tomorrow's data probably give you a better sense, but we have to do better, or else we have serious challenges ahead, which we'll meet. We'll meet those challenges. And like I said before, we've already procured enough water to make sure everybody in the service area is set, right? And we'll continue to do that. But if the community doesn't respond, there's a strong likelihood that there will be a period of time where sections of this yellow map here run out of water.
And that's why I think it's important for all of us to stress how important it is to conserve. Now, this is, and I hear you guys saying over and over again, this is mandatory. This isn't a suggestion. This is mandatory, correct? And there's going to be a call sent out later tonight, just kind of to inform those of that. But I don't know, I'm hearing that, and I really want us to convey how serious it is, so it doesn't.
So to be crystal clear, if the amount of gallons per day do not change out of this service area, there will be days where there will likely not be water. I can almost 90%, right? That will happen. So I think the key is that we collectively just change our behavior. 5%, 10% of our own behavior with water, and that gives us more and more time. Okay.
I have a quick question. Would this in affect firefighting in these communities at all?
No. What we've already planned and prepared with local fire departments, their ability to get water within the system, but also without. We also have water trucks that can be stationed in this part of the county. That's something that we've already worked through and will continue to work through.
You guys have said that you're preparing in case some areas don't have water. Can you go into specifics about what you guys would actually do?
We would look at water distribution first, mass water distribution, essentially drinking water. Second, water distribution to help with the sanitary systems in one's home, and then third, looking at the water distribution, community sites related to showering, etc. So I think overall that certainly we look to find our most vulnerable members of the community and get them potentially water directly. Certainly you would have sites where you would have, just like we had massive testing sites for COVID, you would have sites where you would have massive water distribution. And so these are all things that we've done. This is, very similar to what we lived through 5-6 years ago. So we know what we're doing with this, and we'll have that happen. But that's the key, is getting water to address the daily living activities of people, making sure that people are in safe conditions, whether that means taking some people out of conditions we deem are not safe and helping get them into hotels. Those are things that we'll all certainly look at in our planning process.
You will have your target as far as how much water demand should be going down. How close are we to that currently? Are we halfway? The target or not?
Yeah, I think I don't. I think let's see what happens tomorrow. I think tomorrow would be probably a day where you'd have 2 days of messaging, 2.5 days, and maybe start to see some, right? And Jeff and his team can let us know. I think it's a hard question to answer right now. I definitely think we need to make this go a lot further than where we are today, and so certainly we need everybody in the game on this.
Could this lead to businesses like restaurants or coffee shops having to close down for the time being?
Not today, but if people don't change behavior, it could, yes. For a short period of time, yes.
All right.
Thank
See
you.
you at 3 p.m. tomorrow.
Right.
Thank you.
Yep.